Randall Cobb joining the program. We've got Thursday Night Football ahead, hours from now, right here on NFL Network. Bucks Eagles in Philly. But right now, it's time to announce the NFL Way to Play recipient. The honor goes to a player who exemplifies proper technique any given week. So for Week 5, the winner receives a personal letter from the commissioner, as well as a $2,500 donation to the player's name, in the player's name, to a high school or youth football program of their choice. The winner for the second time this year is Trent Williams, Niners offensive tackle, an absolute monster. D-Hall, tell us what you see here.
Yeah, Trent Williams, my former teammate. Let's show this video. Watch Trent get out in space. You know, one of the most athletic offensive linemen in the game, but watch the way he uses his hands. He doesn't just launch at the defender and throw his head in there and throw his body. He uses his hands. He's driving his feet. He clears that path for Deebo Samuels. I mean, that's the way you teach this right here. If you can get a big old tackle in space, get his hands on one of those little DBs, and he pushes them around like a little rag doll. But congratulations to Trent Williams. And you see Mr. and Mrs. Lance, they are hype.
They love Trent Williams.
They love that.
Yes, they do.
Big fans of him. Congrats to Trent Williams on the award. The $2,500 donation that will be made in his name. We cannot wait to find out who the NFL Way to Play recipient is for this coming week. It might be from tonight's game, kicking off Week 6 action in Philadelphia at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on NFL Network. Selva has a news hit for us. He's out in his garage still somehow on the West Coast. I don't know when that's changing, but maybe never.
Just going with it, Kay. Just going with it until they tell me I gotta go. So until then, just to be nice and cozy where I am. Either way, good morning to all of you. And we start in Las Vegas, where the Raiders are busy preparing to take on the Broncos on Sunday as they continue to also deal with the fallout from the Jon Gruden situation. Members of the team, including General Manager Mike Mayock, addressing reporters and talking about how they're dealing with the situation inside the organization.
I've talked to several of the black players, okay? I think we've reached out to a bunch of players, black and white. Everybody's got emotions and feelings. I've talked to some of the people in my department that are black, and my director of pro scouting, and I just said, DJ, I can't put myself in your shoes. Help me. Okay, so we've spent a pretty good amount of time trying to help these guys and talk with these guys, and not talk out at them, but with them. And the other thing I would say is just. For Carl, let's be honest, he's a community of one that's openly gay, okay? We do have a large community of African-American players, and we're trying to do everything we can for that community as well, obviously. It started there, okay? Nobody's forgetting that. We're talking, and I'm trying to work with everyone, and we're going to continue to do that.
A lot of emotion coming from the Raiders. Quarterback Derak Carr saying the team needs a leader now more than ever, and his job is to lead with his actions and his voice. Okay, guys?
Thank you so much, Will. Yes, appreciate you so much. It was nice to hear from Mike Mayock. He talked about the game. He talked about the Broncos, how they're still competitive. They're 3-2. This is different than other seasons. He talked about interim coach Rich Bisaccia and what he adds, the kind of coach he is and what he does and means to those guys in that locker room. I ask you, D'Angelo, as a former player, how does a team try to get set for a game when there is a distraction like this? It's obviously not fair to ask players to compartmentalize, but it's something that has to be done if they want to win.
Yeah, and first I want to say everything I've heard about Rich Bisaccia has been nothing short of amazing. Him as a coach, him as a leader. I know early in the week I made the comment, I don't know his connection to Coach Gruden, right? They got a long history. What Coach Gruden has done does not affect who Rich Bisaccia is as a person. So I first want to say that. But, Kay, to your point, you do have to kind of compartmentalize. Because at the end of the day, it's about the guys in that locker room. You know, no matter what happens with the head football coach, the new one or the old one, you got to go out there and play for the guy beside you. A lot of these guys in the National Football League, they need this. They need this job. They need this income. A lot of us don't come from the nicest of backgrounds. And so for them, it's a bigger picture here. And that's who you are. as a player, who you are as a person, what you're fighting for when you go out there on that football field. So we can say as much as we want about this being a heck of a hole to climb out of for a football player in that locker room, but I know for me personally, I loved football so much, it was my sanctuary. So no matter what was going on, no matter, you know, how many times things happened in Washington that always distracted our attention from the game, right? It was always something. We didn't care as players in that locker room. And maybe we had become kind of immune to it, or, you know, maybe immune is not the word, just numb to it, because it always seemed to be happening to us. But at the end of the day, I knew I had to go out there to try to be the best player I could be. And I think a lot of those players in that Raiders locker room kind of feel those sentiments. Like, yes, we understand what happened, what transpired, and we know it's going to take a long time to move forward as an organization. But each of us as an individual player has to still go out there and do our job. If not, we're not going to have a job. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. I think you do compartmentalize because you understand, I still got to go out here and make plays. Nobody across from me is going to care that, you know, all of this has happened with our organization. Oh, God, we're going to take it easy on you this week. No, they're going to try to beat your head in even more. If they see you out there not going 100% or not, you know, looking as though you're engaged and fully focused on the job at hand, you're going to get your butt whipped even more. And so for all of these players, I can guarantee they're going to be ready to play. They have to, because they're fighting for something bigger than just the Raiders organization. They're fighting for themselves. They're fighting for their families. They're fighting to keep their jobs and, you know, ultimately take care of family members and, you know, all of those other people that they support for generations to come. So, you know, it seems like a tough thing to do, but having been in that locker room and been through a lot of different situations, obviously nothing like this, but you know, I know myself and the guys that I've talked to, it was all about, look, it doesn't matter what they say, what's going on. We got to go out here and take this onus on ourselves to go out here and compete.
What do you think, Peter?
Yesterday was the first day that they were all together, and we saw not only Mayock but Bisaccia at the podium. But I was told that in the morning, Derak Carr addressed the team and was fantastic. Fantastic about what this season could still be, what this season means, what the brotherhood of football players are. And he's shown a lot of grace towards Gruden in a lot of his public comments, where he says he hates the sin of what was done, but he can't hate the man.
Love the man.
I love the man. Yeah. And I think that grace that Derak Carr is showing is interesting and rare in today's climate. And I think it also speaks to him as a man and as a player and saying, this season's not done. We're 3-2. 3-2. Mayock said Rich Bisaccia is the greatest leader of men he's ever seen in his life. He didn't say Jon Gruden was the greatest man. This season's not done. Those people did nothing wrong. That organization is going to be fine. They're going to move forward from this. This was a wake-up call for a lot of people, and it rang a bell. But, gosh, I think there would be nothing cooler than that team to rally around each other, Carl Nassib to rally around him, and to see this Raiders team get back on track and maybe pull off some wins here and say, no, we're not about that. That's not us. That's him. This is us. I think it could be an opportunity for them to galvanize around it.
I think that they will win this weekend. I do. A lot of times when you have interim coaches come in, the team wins. Last year was 3-0. And remember, this is not a team who fired its coach because they were bad. This is a good team who had its coach leave for other reasons. I find the crux of this that's fascinating is, what do the current Raiders think about Jon Gruden right now? And I heard what Derak Carr said too. Not to put too fine a point on, I'd like to hear from some more of the black players. I'd like to hear from Nassib. How do they feel? Because is this a locker room where they're like, that guy's dead to us? Like, I can't believe that. I hate that guy. I don't respect him anymore. Or is there a faction or even a majority who says, we know the man, we don't care about the story, that is still our guy, and we're going to win for him even? I don't know, and we won't know until they talk about it, but I'd be fascinated to see what that dynamic is in that locker room, because this is unprecedented.
That's well said. At GMFB with your thoughts. We'll be talking about this and tracking that story leading to that, up to that game against the Broncos this weekend. We've got more Good Morning Football ahead, and we'll be right back after this.
DraftKings Sportsbook has same-game parlays for